So we've announced the 4 teams. We know who's where. We've got Andy and Smace on with us to talk about their division. Let's get into a little bit of division talk. So I'll let you guys continue your conversation, but just give your thoughts, Smace and Andy, on how the division is set up and how you think it might go for the cycle.
I mean, looking at this, so I'll look at this first at like gameplay wise, like offense and defense. I don't know much about Sniper. I don't think I even played him once last cycle, but I've played Smace a bunch. I've played B a good amount. The biggest thing with me is going into B. He figures out his offense. He's got an offense. He doesn't need a lot of different players to do it. He knows what he wants to do and he can do it. But giving B that defense is trouble, right? Like having Bosa, having Ingram, having James, having these guys that are solid players already, right? Where he doesn't have to go find them or go trade for them. He's got them from the get go. That's going to be tough for me. Offensively, like I know B is going to make trades. He's going to go get the players that he likes and he wants. And not that they like fit his scheme or anything, because he'll find a way to he'll scheme exactly how he wants to, but he's gonna go get players that he really enjoys, and that's I'll live with that. But the defense wise for him is huge, man. He's gonna be like Smace said, blitzing from the get go. When it comes to Smace, like, and Smace just said it too, like he's had to find a way to kind of like put together stuff. And I think now that he's going to be comfortable, like from the like jump, be like, all right, this is my playbook. This is what I want to do. I have the guys to do it. Let's go. I think that's going to give him a little bit more less anxiety. I think he's going to play a little bit better. And I think long term is what's going to be for Smace is just can he manage success the whole cycle? Is he going to have some down years because he's got to replace guys, which he's done well with, right? But him having that offense, him having a defense from the get go, like giving Smace players that are good is that's going to be interesting to see, and I'm excited to see that, and I'm excited to compete against that. And like I said, I don't know much about LV, but the Raiders have some young pieces, and we'll see what he does with them. But this is going to be one of the most. Can you imagine like Smace me, or B not making the playoffs, but like having good records? Like that's wild to me,
Welcome
right?
to
Like we all have
the
good teams, and
story of
then
the
one of us
NFC
not
last
making the
year.
The
playoffs.
last year of this cycle, I think everyone, because by that time teams were built up, I think everyone was 9-7 or better. The last
Yeah,
cycle, if I recall, all 4 teams were at least 9-7.
it's gonna be a grind. This AFC West is gonna be a grind, and I'm so pumped because it's like I said, I'm a Chiefs fan. I know these rivalries. It's gonna be a blast, and we get to play in the snow in KC and Denver. Like it's gonna be great.
I think the one
Yeah,
thing, my quick observation, you talked about B. B really likes to blitz heavy, and with 3 corners rated at 87 overall and better, that are probably going to be able to man up pretty good. That could be really dangerous with that defense. So that's I really like the matchups of users with teams in this division.
Yeah,
right. And I think the less anxiety about being his blitzing is that they supposedly, we don't know till we get our hands on the game, but you can get rid of the ball. Where
Yeah,
there were so many times I have a hot read, I took so many sacks where I'm trying to throw it, the animation says no, you're not going to throw.
yeah.
And I mean,
you have
hot
Tyreek
routes
Hill,
went by.
Smith.
I know he's blitzing. I see you're blitzing. I'm trying to throw it. There's
You
no
have
way you
Tyreek
can
Hill,
stop
dude.
me from throwing it. But hopefully this year, if that mechanic works, then that'll be a huge boost to my game plan anyway.
You have the two biggest blitz beaters in Travis Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. Like this is crazy to me that Smith's got the Chiefs.
I'm gonna love hearing Andy complain about this all cycle long. Um, but
I hope he just keeps drafting at like 31 and 30. Like let's just keep hoping those are his spots.
and if there's one division that I think is going to be helped by the new NFL playoff rules in the AFC, it's going to be this one.
Yeah,
Like I wouldn't be surprised to see three playoff teams consistently come out of this division on a yearly basis. With the only problem with that is if you guys just beat up on one another.
Yeah, that's going to be the key is with these balanced divisions is how guys fare against each other. If you're all beating up on each other, then you got to win your non-division games, um, and that becomes really important. That's what we saw a lot with the NFC in last
Right.
cycle is guys were beating each other up in the division, but they were winning these not, especially against the other conference. Winning
yeah.
those out of division, out of conference games becomes really important.
Right. the season before the last season, I had a terrible record against the I think it was the NFC. I lost a bunch, like 3 of the 4 close games, and that ended up I was 1 game out, 1 or 2 games out,
Yeah.
and it was the close. It was those close non-division because I had the best record in the division, but I was losing to everyone else.
Dude, I wish I was in the room when you guys made these teams and just saw this and been like, holy crap, that AFC West.
Brian did it all by himself, so blame him. None of
Yeah,
us
he
had
looked
an
at that and he was like,
influence.
oh my god.
Well, it's always a lot of fun looking at these divisions because a lot of times you just can't avoid it. There's
Yeah.
enough good players and enough good teams that every year there's usually like 2, sometimes 3 divisions that you just look at and you're like, man, that's going to be a tough division. And
Yeah.
it just so happened that the AFC West became that division this year. And to be honest with you, there was a lot of people that wanted all the teams in the AFC West. I think that these 4 teams were probably 4 of the most requested teams
Yeah.
across
Makes
everyone's
sense, yeah.
list. So I think that I think that there's some good teams here, some good talent, and some good owners that got these teams. So
Well, I think you get the best of everything in this division. Like building a team, Smace is like we've talked about so many times. Smace is up there, right? You look at user play. Like I think I'm pretty high up there with user play. You look at just offense and just playing the game. Like Gator's up there. He has to be up there. And then, like I said, LV's an X factor, dude. We don't know a lot about him, right? And having a whole cycle, he could be a top TFL player for all we know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be fun to watch this play out. So with that being said, let's get into some picks, some division predictions. Let's go talk about first year, who we think's what's gonna happen the first year, and then through the cycle. I don't care who starts. Somebody say something.
Okay, shit. In this division, we have no clue. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to win 10 games. I'll just say that. But that might not be enough. You just never know because
I'm not putting any
my
bulletin board
cornerbacks are
material
not
up.
good.
Bond, you're not tricking me in that.
Yeah, my quarterbacks are not good. So that is the fear. I was looking at the
Jadarius
cornerbacks.
Ward
I'm
can
like,
play, Mace. You put him on the field.
yeah, but
There's my
shit,
Chiefs bias coming in. I'm gonna throw a pick to
cornerbacks.
Brashad Breeland and be like, you know what? Breeland's a good player. I'm alright with that. I'm gonna get sacked by freaking Frank Clark and be like, oh, Frank Clark with a sack. I've seen that. I love that. So I lose by 30.
Well, if you guys don't want to make predictions, then we will. So let's start
Yeah,
with
let the
Cooley.
non-bias do it. Yeah.
You haven't talked
let
much.
the other people.
Let's start with you, Cooley. What's your thoughts?
I think you got to pick Smace. You got to pick the Chiefs. That team's loaded. Smace can play. He'll figure it out with the Mahomes. I mean, he likes to spread it around too. So they've got weapons everywhere. So I mean, Smace is a pretty good defensive player. Uh, he doesn't need. I know he's complaining about his cornerbacks, but I don't think he doesn't need top rated guys with the defensive schemes that he usually runs. He's usually pretty good in that area. So I would have to if you make me pick somebody, I mean, it's definitely going to be him. Then the other 3, it's all a toss up. I mean, you're right. I think they could have multiple teams make the playoffs each year. I don't know how Andy is a Chiefs fan and then picks another team in that division. If you told me I had to be the Eagles or the Washington football team or the New York Giants, I would just not play. I'd be like, nope,
Yes,
Because
I'll
we
sit
won a
this one
Super
out.
Bowl, dude.
that
So
was
I'm
half
good
of
with
the
it. We're
reason
fine.
for me going to the AFC West because everyone know. Well, I don't know if everyone knows. I skipped around every division, so I've had a team in every division except the NFC East. I don't want to be the
Yeah,
Cowboys,
can't
and I'm
do
not
it.
going to be anybody else. I've been in
That's
every
right.
division in TFL but the NFC East, and
Preach.
I can't be in the NFC East.
Preach,
Just
Mace.
can't do it. I couldn't see me helping the Washington football team. Hell
Yeah. F those guys.
yeah, I mean, I agree with you there, Cooley. I think Space is is definitely the favorite for the first season or 2. I really think that if Justin Herbert progresses or gets any sort of dev boost or gets any sort of abilities, if we go that route, I think that Chargers team is set up basically for the cycle at this point, with I think a more manageable cap situation. So I think just over the course of the cycle, I think that Chargers team would be the one that I would be um,
I
most
can't sleep on the
confident in, like
Broncos
long
either. The
term.
Broncos have a lot of young talent too.
Yep.
They had a pretty good draft. So what my game plan, I'll say it right out, is I'm going to make the young quarterback. Everybody got a young quarterback, but the Chiefs, and those quarterbacks are going to have to play MVP caliber because I'm going to put the pressure, the onus on them to make throws. Can they throw deep? Can they hit
And
tight windows? That's
the young
that.
quarterbacks will be I think the difference here is that if one of those teams gets their young quarterback to progress in the right way, they become an instant challenge to the Chiefs this cycle.
Well, and you look at like LV, who's got Carr, so he's going to draft one. Like I mean, he's not going to be his cycle quarterback. I don't know if he'll trade for one, but like we're going to have 3 really young QBs, and then there's that dude on 15 for KC that's going to be 99 overall from the get go.
Right,
Yeah,
and it's going to be interesting to see how the ability, if the abilities stay, and the X factors. I did see that, but if they stay, there's going to be a changeover, just like last cycle about season 2, 3. A lot of the older guys are going to retire, and last cycle Denver lucked up and got a quarterback that got X factor, well, got abilities, and then he was instantly one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
We
yeah.
don't talk about that, Mason.
That's
That dude
what
was
makes
auto picked. That dude was auto picked 2 picks ahead of me. Okay, you don't bring it up anymore.
well, and
Right.
that's what makes projections hard. Like, look, thinking about what's going to happen in years after. Really, I think I always think about the cycle as the first 2 years in the sim season, and then the rest. So the first 3 years and the last 4 years, and it's hard to tell what can happen because obviously there's a lot of unknown. But we've got 3 pretty known quantities with Andy Smace and B. All 3 longtime members, and then we've got a new member in LV, and none of us know what his team building looks like. I have a pretty good idea of his play on the field. He's a pretty good user, and he's good at the game, but I have no idea what his team building looks like. So the Raiders probably have the most work to do in terms of building the roster, just from where it is now. Um, so that'll be really key. Does he go for a quarterback? Can he shore up the offensive line? Does he get a couple pass rushers? That kind of thing. And the other teams are fairly well set. The Chiefs roster is so interesting to me because of how highly rated the top guys are, and then that huge gap. There's not a lot of depth, so we'll see how injuries go, what that looks like in the game. If
Right.
the cap
Hopefully.
situation causes Mace to have to move on from a guy, can he replace a highly rated guy with someone to come in, and that's going to be the key. So
I
I
mean,
I I agree. I think
answer
Smace
that for you,
has
Bond. Yes, he can.
yeah, um, but I think Smace has the upper hand early on. But I think I'm really interested to see how he does with team building after the first 2 or 3 seasons when some of these contracts come up and that cap starts to shrink a little bit because we haven't seen Smace in that position before. So it's new waters for him, and we'll see if maybe the other rosters with Denver and Los Angeles and Las Vegas uh, can close the ground a little bit because I think there is a decent gap between Kansas City's roster at the start and everyone else.
Yeah, it it's definitely going to be new ground. Last cycle, I didn't have an offensive ability player. I don't think the whole cycle. None.
Now you've got like 6 of them.
Yeah, you got your
Exactly.
whole offense's abilities.
Yeah. All right. I think we've done a pretty good go through the division. Does anyone have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, what's the next division?
One of the
The
NFL
next
ones.
division will be a surprise.
Damn it, they're still locked sealed.
Yep. So we're gonna be doing our next show on Sunday. it sounds like Bond, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to be pushing it back a little later start.
Yeah,
Closer.
I have a baseball game that starts at 5 o'clock out here, so 7 o'clock Eastern. 2.5 hour time limit. I'll probably be home right around 10 o'clock Eastern. So hopefully we can get it going by 10:30. But I'll update the chat as like Discord as the game finishes and we can kind of have an idea. But yeah, we talked about possibly moving it to Saturday. Brian couldn't do that, so I think keeping it Sunday but doing a little bit later. And hopefully we can get the next 4 teams that'll be announced. We can get those users on for Sunday.
Yep. So we'll be doing our next show Sunday. I'm guessing it's probably going to be around 10:30 Eastern. We'll just tentatively make that the time, and we'll, like John said, we'll play it by ear. But yeah. Thanks,
All right.
Looking
guys,
forward
for
to it, guys.
joining.
This is a blast.
Yeah, thank
Yep,
you,
yep. I
Andy.
look forward to it. Thank you for the division because all of these guys, except for LV, B, and Andy, they always make you go down to the last possession. It's always a good strategic battle. So I
Yeah,
look forward to that.
awesome. Well, thanks guys for joining Smace and Andy. Cooley, Brian, you guys have any final things to say?
No,
Nope.
man, I just think it'll be competitive, so I'm looking forward to it. We've got 2 really good divisions so far.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up with that then. Thanks for whoever listened. These videos will be up on YouTube in the next couple of days. I'll split them up and do each team like I did with the first division. And we'll announce our next 4 teams on Sunday. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Adios.